What's up, Bladers? Welcome back to the Blade Dragons podcast. I'm Alex,
I'm Elliot.
and we are the Blade Dragons. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about the third Beyblade X anime episode. Now, we've got a couple more points than we did for episode 2, so this is definitely going to be a lot of fun to go through.
We're gonna be on topic this time. No subtitles. We got a lot of information to cover, so we're gonna get right into business.
We actually watched the episode, and we didn't get distracted by all of the wacky quote unquote lore that we were chatting about last time. So we should be all good for this one.
This time the subtitles actually helped me and gave me some key information that I liked. So
Ooh.
instead of laughing about bird size, I took some information out of it that was probably transcribed decently, but we'll see.
Yes, so we actually did it good this time. All right, so we've got 15 points today. So we're gonna do them one by one, and we will jump right into it. But actually, I kind of want to hear your thoughts on the episode overall. Now, I think for me, the first two episodes were not bad, but there's certainly some things to be said. The animation feels kind of lazy. Visually, it looks very similar to Burst. There's some things that are a little different, but overall, 80K is kind of lacking in the visual department, and there's some other points we'll talk about towards the end. But I think episode 3, in terms of like how it handled the story and the filler stuff, aka content that wasn't in the manga, I think they did a great job, especially because they showed a training montage with Bird, and we also got to see a little extra bit with Bird and his ex teammates. So I think content wise, the episode was very good, but I they 80K still needs to step it up in terms of their animation.
Yeah, no, we actually got a lot more story in this episode, so I was very happy to at least get progress towards the storyline instead of just basic Beyblade content. We've learned a lot of key elements about the characters now, and got some more outcomes of battles. So we've learned a lot about going forward. But like you said, they've already reused some episode or some frames. So it's like, oh, you really could have made that better, but you just copied and pasted. But I guess I don't really know what else to expect from it. But overall, I am happy with this episode.
Absolutely wonderful. All right, so we will get into our first point now, which I was very happy with, and that is, of course, the explanation of the different Beyblade types. Now, if you are a Beyblade fan from way back, like we are, you will know that there are four main types of Beyblades: attack, defense, stamina, and balance. And there is a order and a law to how it works. Attack counters stamina, stamina counters defense, defense counters attack, balance typically finds a balance between all three, but is not strong in any one type. And one thing that I do want to point out is that the balance and like just the way that they frame this picture, and they position the different type logos, is really smart, because balance, it's got like the one dot in the center, but then it's got the three other dots on the outside, and those point directly to the other type. So it's kind of like you got like the balance on the middle, and it's got like the inspiration coming from the different types, which is
Yeah, these are new logos for them. So I guess I do like the remake of the animations for each type. So they are self-explanatory.
yeah, it definitely looks very clean. You can definitely tell like which one is which for the most part. Attack and stamina may get confused on like the boxes for the products because it's all in white, but here it's definitely very clear which is which. So
Yeah,
I'm satisfied with that. I think that was a real smart move, especially for people, like for kids that Beyblade X is their first generation. It's always good that they explain, the basics of Beyblade right away.
nope, that helped me because I forgot when they announced attack versus defense. I couldn't remember who was gonna come out on top there, and according to the Beyblade law. And so I was like, oh, cool, a refresher course. I don't have to do any lore searching.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was definitely so nice to see that. So the next thing that we have is Multi's persona, because for the first time, we get to see Multi switch her personality. So she goes from being sort of the cutesy, ditzy little fun streamer girl with Wizard Arrow to this, kind of bombastic, deeper voiced character who wears gloves and a top hat and uses the defense type Knight Shield. And I know we said we weren't going to get off topic with subtitles, but hey, I'm going to change my life. That's kind
Now
of funny.
there's some funny or more elaborate phrases in the subtitles this time. Like I believe the next screenshot I uploaded that says that she was cute with Wizard Arrow and then cool with Knight Shield, and it's like, okay, so she is, and her name or the team name of her is Persona. So I guess that is self-explanatory.
Hmm.
And we'll get into another feature of hers with the next couple screenshots that we have gotten more lore behind Multi, and Common X even acknowledges it with the his reaction that I believe the next screenshot is she has a 7 multiplayer team is her one-man team. Yeah, right here. Each bay has a different technique in the costumes with super advantage battles, and that's her winning strategy of 7 multiplayer. So that is a broken version of saying that apparently she has way more characters than we've been led on to see. So hopefully we get a little more character development out of her, and she doesn't go absolutely crazy and just be every character in this. That's how they save on budget, is Maltese every character. She's going to be a villain in season 2. So
Yep. Although that's interesting because that would kind of be similar to what they did with Shu, I think, in one of the seasons of Burst. I remember hearing something about how, like, he was the villain, I think, of season 2 or season 3. It was one of those.
yeah, he turned to the dark side for power. So
And the cookies.
uh, yeah.
So it's interesting that she phrases it in 7 multiplayer. So I guess she's got 7 things. So that's interesting. Are we going to see her with an attack type and a balance type as well? Or are we just going to see stamina and defense and, like, nothing else? She has, like, a determined type of Beyblade. So I'm curious to see.
Well, with the trailer, everyone was theorizing her face tattoos and just like the colors of her outfits are
Mhm.
different types of bays, or they are the bays, because we've seen that she has Wizard Arrow yellow, Shark or Nightlands green, and then she had Hell Scythe. Maybe she's going to get another red bay, but I don't know if we want to jump into it. She did say why she gave Bird Hell Scythe. I put that in there with the subtitles that she said, I gave you Hell Scythe because I couldn't control the treasure, or I physically couldn't control Hell Scythe, so I gave it to you. And I was like, really? So you're a jack of all trades, but you can't master the base, so you just decide to give it to a Bird. Yeah, here it is. I don't know how to use it at all. I'm practicing holding the treasures. And then Bird's like, I have no choice but to use it or whatever. Because that was
Interesting.
also a point that they made when Bird was lost to Malty. Is Bird was saying, or Malty said, I knew what you were gonna do because you have a balance bay or something. And then Bird's like, oh, because Balance doesn't have a set attack plan that she could have read me or whatever. So there are showing strategies between each type of bay, which is pretty cool. Like in Metal Fight, it was pretty much just like aggression versus stamina or defense, but now they're actually focusing more on the compatibility between them right off the bat.
That's interesting. I didn't know that because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the luxury of
Now,
putting on subtitles, sadly. But
yeah, that's what I was saying. That this time the subtitles actually helped, so that's funny.
ah, interesting. I didn't know that. I wouldn't have guessed that. So interesting. So Hell's Scythe, it sounds like, is kind of like, it's kind of like one of those Beyblades that does choose its blader. To an
Mm-hmm.
extent, I don't think they really personified that in the, or stated that in the anime yet, but you know I think it was more like Bird was drawn to Hell's Scythe, and then now he's discovering it's kind of picky and hard to use. So, um, but it is good that um, he's not like Bird. It's refreshing to see that Bird is actually going to go through an arc and actually get better, versus a lot of our
Mm-hmm.
other bladers. Like let's talk about Jinga, who was just always good, and he did go through certain arcs, but they were very different from Tyson, Vald, and Bird here, who are going to actually improve their blading skill and sort of earn their #1 title. Ooh, this is a good one. So, um, in I forget which video it was that I mentioned it. It was either my initial like whenever I read the manga, I forgot what video that was where I talked about that, and then or it was the episode 1 or 2 videos that I did, and I'm just gonna mention this for anyone who is subscribed to my channel and watches our podcast. I'm not gonna talk about the anime again unless there's something really interesting that happens. So I did record episode 3, but or like record a video thoughts on, but I'm not gonna release that. So maybe I'll revisit it for
Yep,
reference, but
that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, everyone can report on the news and make reaction videos as soon as the anime releases. But I'll save the news to the actual people that have time to make a video the same day, and I'll save my thoughts for the week for the
yeah.
anime instead of rushing it out.
Yeah, plus we get time to like marinate on it and we can put it together. So it's nice to save it for when we do Blade
It
Dragons.
Yeah, because we found a lot of things that we skip over, and one of us says something because we've thought about the previous episode going into now, and we're like, wow, that is something that we wouldn't have missed if we just rushed out a video.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So back to our point, which was I called out that it was going to be so annoying in the anime when Multi loses and starts crying, and I called it so hard. We just look at this screenshot, and she is you know what? I'm gonna just take the dump right on Multi. She's an ugly crier, and I mean, I don't know if that's a thing with all women, but
Oh god, you're already in the doghouse, dude.
I'm already canceled. No, I'm kidding, but
No, but it was funny. I was like, oh my gosh, she's literally just sitting down and crying, and I'm like, wait, she's like 13. If I lost my professional debut with 10 million followers, I would probably have a mental breakdown too.
I know it's weird. But is this her initial debut? Because she has skill with Beyblades, so
Well, this was the promotional match, which is very weird because I don't know. The first battle we see Burden, he's going pro, and I don't. It sounds like pro is just the title to be in the Bay universe, because if you go to the screenshot I have between their teammates, he said that Bird said you guys don't have the skill or the talent to be bladers. That only Bird has the talent on their team to become pro, even though Bird's only been in one battle.
mm,
So it's like, well, are you a professional because you won this? I mean, we've only seen 2 people. Like, okay, I guess now everyone's pro because the loser joins the winner's team. Loophole, but whatever. Plot hole, episode 3.
yep, yeah. It's kind of it's interesting because we know Bird's background, we know Common's background, but we don't really know much about Multi aside from she's a live streamer who's got 10 million followers and has multiple personalities, but we don't know much about her Beyblading history, which
Mm-hmm.
maybe we'll probably learn about that. But
Seems like
here,
she's very serious about Beyblading, so gotta give
definitely,
her props.
and then and it's like here, it's like you wouldn't expect this from someone who is in the limelight a lot. It's like she's just hat off on her knees, crying her eyes out. It's like you would expect someone like this who's got someone who's got a big presence online to be able to be humble about a defeat instead of just flopping down and crying. Doesn't matter like how old she is, like 13,
Mm-hmm.
14, however old she is. That's at the point where you're not gonna cry like that. I would think versus I
Yeah,
mean like I think
yeah.
the only other time we've really, or that at least I've seen like someone cry after losing, and it was like a full on like bawling. Was like when in Metal Fight, in episode 6, I want to say, when Hikaru flashed back to when her mother told her to become the best blader in the world, and like there was the bit before where she was in the stadium, she lost, and then she like broke down crying, but she was like 6, 7 years old. It made sense for her to cry at that age after losing. And then here it's like Multi is, normal age for, Beyblade, and she's just doing this.
It sounds like her expert or experience with Beyblade might not be as vast as we'd expect, because we've already brought up that one dude. I don't know if it was Mont Blanc's whatever, but he's been blading for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
For Multi to master a couple bays and break down like this after supposedly training this hard, getting all these followers over the years, is like, do you really have that much experience with battles if this is how you react to a major battle? Like, are there not tournaments weekly or monthly that span the country that are going to happen, or is this literally located into the single X Tower and whatnot?
Yeah, like she definitely has experience because she has a move that she uses. She has Mirage Parry. So, that's not something that I think she would be able to do just in like within a couple battles. She's definitely taken time to perfect that. And also the knowledge of Night Shield and the launch that she did, which we'll get into in a sec. But it's like, at this point, it should be expected that she's decent and she knows, what's sort of going to happen if she loses. So, I don't know. Maybe she's been conditioned by her fans and, now she actually lost and she's, being a baby about it. And then, of course, afterwards, we get the nice Common coming and bending over and, being like, hey, you want to come and join our team? We need a third. And then she gets back up and she's happy again. So at least the crying, didn't last for too long, but, it was still.
Flip the switch.
Yep. Which,
She's
maybe.
a good actor, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you have to be when you're when you're an influencer.
Get those ratings.
Yeah, you have to be able to, turn off the tears, which is pretty standard. I always cry after I record my videos, and I take a few hours just to let it all out and throw a little No, I don't actually. But the next bit that I think we had, yes, was the live stream that Multi does when they get to the restaurant. So they're at the restaurant. She's got her phone set up on its little tripod and she's live streaming, post battle. She also has a purse. So she's definitely like a little older. Old enough to at least, have a purse. Because there's definitely more than just her 7 Beyblades and her streaming stuff. She's got to have like something to like touch up her like face tattoos or a brush in there for her hair or whatever women keep in their purse for personal beauty, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's kind of cool to see like Multi being very active with her career. It's not like she posts once a million years and then she gets like 10 million followers off of that.
Yeah, but jumping right into 10 million followers, girl, what'd you do for that?
Yeah, I mean,
he's just a really good blader, man. Really good.
Exactly. Good enough until she loses and starts crying like a baby.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's neither here nor there. And then we get this. It's interesting. I really like this screenshot a lot. This one stood out to me because you've got Multi, who's like super excited, and she's like talking about her developments, and then you got X, who's just chilling. He's got his arm up, and he's like, yeah, I'm here too. It's all good. And then Bird's just sitting there like he's having an existential crisis again. He's like, I shouldn't be here. I suck. I need to be somewhere else. Help!
My health size is too small.
It's so true. He's freaking out. Bird's too small for the big leagues. Uh-oh.
Bad Bird.
He's not a good bird in this episode, sadly. But it's kind of funny to see that. It's kind of like a newscast almost, And of course, next up we get to probably one of the most intriguing throwbacks to the mid 2010s meme culture. We get
Bir-
something that
Bird is meme. Or
something
bird is me. What?
I know. We're just looking like, wait a minute. Oh, we're doing that now. It's I'm gonna switch the panel now so we can actually see what it is, and it is the incredible dabbing that at least X is doing, because X is kind of doing a decent job at it. Multi is just not really doing it that well.
Dancing. Yes.
But it was, I don't know. I saw this happen. I was like, why dab? Why are we dabbing? Why not like an X symbol or whatever? It's like you
Well,
would,
they are making an X symbol.
I mean,
They just
yeah.
happen to be.
I don't know. Was that intentional for them to do it like that? But then
Well,
birds just
if
left out.
well if they only used one hand, the Nazis would be offended.
You know, that's very true. We don't want to offend anyone, especially the Nazis.
Remember, Beyblade X is inclusive.
I mean, I don't know. We don't support Nazis at all. I promise.
Oh, that's funny.
But at least I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was a good idea. Maybe the dab was a bit better in that scenario. So I can excuse it. I can
Because
excuse
what
it.
what wasn't there a I don't know, maybe I'm thinking of a different anime, but a lot of animes do like a superhero pose like that, but I don't know.
No, the dabs caught me off guard. Genuinely, I was just like, wow. I haven't seen that since like I haven't seen people do that since like 2016, 2017. Uh, in terms of
Don't really want to
animals,
bring it back.
I haven't seen any animal do it since I last played Mario Kart 8, because we all know Donkey Kong has a trick animation where he dabs. But
Yup.
but yeah, that's for another time. So let's see. Next up, we got that. One thing I wanted to touch on a little bit, which we don't really need a picture for, is the fact that in the manga, it said that multi, at least in the scanlation, in the translation, so maybe they got the number mixed up, but I would doubt that, because it's, at its base it's a small number. In the manga, it stated 1 million followers, and that's how many followers Multi had. And I'm actually gonna fact check that real quick. Um, if I can, let's see, Beyblade.
Well, see, if she only had 1 million followers, Beyblade Geeks would be more popular than her, and we can't have that, right?
That's true. We can't allow Beyblade geeks to be more popular than our one and only Multi. Can't believe I'm forgetting her name. This
Yeah.
is, go away Wikipedia. Let me find the. Oh, I gotta read the new chapter. Actually, I haven't done that yet.
Is it translated?
Yeah, it got scanlated. It's apparently really good from what I've heard. Wait a minute. No, I think it's chapter
Yeah, I was like, what are we doing here?
3. No, it's 4. No, 2. Sorry. Bayday in the manga.
It's a baby day.
I like it.
I don't know. I like the manga style of the art, like some of the chibi characters.
Mm-hmm. I like the manga a lot better, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like the anime, I'll get into my gripes with that when we hit our last point, but I think the manga is just better so far in terms of like visual style and getting everything in. So wait a minute, where does it say she's got 1 million followers? That was at
Maybe the announcer say it.
wasn't it? Yeah, it was like over. Yeah, she's got over 1 million followers on social media. I'll go ahead and swap the panel so we can see that. But yeah, it says she's got over 1 million followers on social media. And then in the manga, or in the anime, it says she's got like over 10 million. So there's a big difference between 1 million and 10 million. And it's interesting that
That's only what, 10%, 100%, 10,000%, whatever.
Yeah, 10%. 1 million is 10% of 10 million, which may not seem that big of a difference, but in follower numbers, it definitely is a big difference. I mean, going off of like what Social Blade says for the Metal Tots Inc. channel, it's like, even though I have only like 53 subs now, I'm in like the top 72% of rankings on the platform. And that definitely translates over to into the Beyblade X world. It's like once you hit millions, there are a surprisingly small amount of people that actually get 1 million, but then it's even smaller when you take into consideration 10 million and you get 8 digits in that. So it was interesting to see that the manga or the anime enlarged the number by they added another 90% onto the onto 1 million, and we end up with 10 for the anime. So it's not like the biggest deal in the world, but it was interesting, just kind of that separation there.
Mm-hmm. Nope, I guess gotta make her look more popular.
Mm-hmm. I guess so. Because, I mean, of course, like we said earlier just now, if she's not as popular as Beyblade Geeks, is she really a top tier social media influencer? You
Yeah, like
know,
come on, Left Burst is almost as popular at that point.
exactly. It's like we can't be lacking here. But anyway, so the next thing that we want to talk about was Maiden. Now, Maiden, I was interested in specifically her hair color because in the manga, I thought she was gonna have black hair and maybe like some white highlights. But no, she is blonde and she's got some nice blue highlights. She's got very striking eyes. She's got some nice.
She looks like she's going to kill me. She's like female Slenderman.
She kind of does look like she might kill you if you like say the wrong thing or you like
Yeah, she
lunch.
looks like a maid. Like she is very proper, but can be very
Very
tense.
very dangerous. And we'll definitely see that in episode 4 when we get to see her battle. But I feel like if Bird dropped his Beyblade again, she would like whip out a broom, sweep Hell's Scythe back into his hands, and then beat him with the broom. She just like takes
You
the
clean
broom, just
clean up after yourself, Bird.
her face just like turns red, and she just like loses. She's like, "How dare you drop the stupid Beyblade on my floor, and now I gotta clean it up. Look what you did, bad Bird."
Nope. So I think Maiden's gonna be. I don't. I don't know. I guess we need to find some backstory about her because it seems like most of these people are all going to be professional bladers, but I don't know. We at this point we don't know what it takes to become a professional blader because Bird ditches his teammates, joins up with a pro, becomes a pro. Multi joins up with a pro, becomes a pro. So if Maiden can just be the maid of a pro and be on the team and become a pro, I said pro like 200 times there. Take a shot every time you do that. Psych, don't, please don't. Um, I don't know. It's just weird if all these people are going to be main characters or what their baseline is with Beyblade.
Yeah, I'm curious about Maiden's backstory. I hope they expand on that in the anime because in the manga it's like she finds out the information on the team by just stalking them and following them home versus the anime, which we've already seen some extra stuff in episode what is it, 3? Yeah, episode 3. So in
Mm-hmm.
episode 4, maybe we get a whole Maiden backstory, which I'm all here for. Like um, I don't want to say
Well,
the
at this
wrong
point, we got
thing.
48 more episodes.
Yep. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but Maiden's pretty cute so far.
She's got a nice art style.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see Maiden in the next episode, but I wasn't expecting like this little preview of her, and I wasn't expecting her design to be this. I was expecting something very, very different. But I'm definitely it is a very nice design, so I can't complain with that. Let's see. The next thing that we have got is something that is a little bit more in correlation with real life Beyblading, and that is the topic of the way that Multi launches Night Shield in her battle with Common X. Now, it's stated and they show that she launches at an angle to get the wobble effect. But it's also interesting that in real life, all of the needle bits that have been released so far are all very unstable in terms of like spinning in the center of the stadium. So it's like if you take high needle or a needle and you stick it on a Beyblade and you launch it, it like moves around and sort of gives like that, wobbling effect that we see in the anime. However, if we go back to episode 1 and we took a look at Stone Mont Blanc, which is essentially just a Night Shield stock, just with some different colors, it was spinning perfectly stable. And that's something we don't see with the products in real life. So um, I was kind of curious about it in episode 1, but seeing that in episode 3 we get something and it explains the wobbling and how it correlates to real life, kind of makes you think about what was going through the minds of Takara Tomy when they made the defense types and they made the model for that, and then the animators when they were tasked with animating defense types.
But you bring that up, and I was very shocked to see. I didn't realize that the wobble of a defense type was such a big part and that it would need to be incorporated into the anime, because I can't recall a single other episode or series that a wobble was encouraged in the animation style that didn't portray slowing down. Like, this was a full speed launch with a wobble, and I was like, whoa, this looks very foreign to me. I don't think I've ever seen a bay launched like this on purpose. So I was kind of happy to see the detail that they used for different shoot styles.
And then something that we'll touch more on in the next episode when episode 4 is out is that Night Lance also has the same thing, but it's a lot more aggressive from the little preview we got. And I didn't think to take a screenshot of that, which is fine. But, um, so it's something that's not, a one-time thing here. We're going to see it again, which is going to be interesting. I'm curious at how they explain it with Night Shield. But the only other time that I know of that we've seen, like, an intentional, like, offshoot was Kenta in his first battle with Jinga in
Oh
episode 3
yeah,
of Metal
yeah, but
Fight.
that wasn't very deliberate. Like, Jinga's like, oh,
No,
that is it. It wasn't like in like
it was intentional.
visually there. Well, visually.
Yeah, visually it was different. It was more like a side to side kind of wobble. It was animated, very differently. Where this, it's more like the wobble that you would see when a Beyblade is slowing down versus then where it was, an intentional like strategy to off center the, you know, the the center of impact or however they explained it. But yeah, so it's interesting to see like a intentional standstill wobble strategy, and I guess here it's a lot different because in Metal Fight they were doing that battle on like the street. They were doing that on like a sidewalk
Hmm.
versus here where it's in a stadium. And I just noticed, I think this is consistent with all of the other stadiums we've seen so far, but I just noticed all of like the scratch marks.
I was just gonna bring that up also.
I never noticed that in the X stadiums until now, and that's a very nice detail.
It looks like it's like an ice rink. Those look like they're ice skate like trails, not even lines on a plastic stadium. I don't know. I mean, I get it's more extreme, and these everything is apparently metal on these Beyblades, so they could easily cut open a what polymer stadium or whatever it's made out of.
Something like
But
that.
no, there are some nice details in there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of interesting things. And I think that's one of the nicer things that ADK has done so far that we just noticed. But we definitely have our problems, which we will be very vocal about in just a bit. So the next thing that I wanted to touch on was Common X's face being seen through the mask, and then multi-shock to that revelation. Or I think this shot right here where we could see like part of X's face through his mask, and then we see like right next we see Multi kind of realizing that Common is way way better than she initially thought when she saw the exhibition match, and now she's fighting him. It was just kind of cool to see like, oh wow, it's like, X is like, oh yeah, you thought I was done, and then you see him through the mask, and then Multi's just like, oh crap, I messed up this big time. And then afterwards, Common hits his second X dash. We get the loss.
I thought it was pretty cool. the subtitles once again. I don't think I got any of them on here, but he said now he's going to activate the invisible dash or whatever, and he's like, now you can see the invisible dash, and they go into this like blue realm for his special attack.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if this is going to be more of a running theme, that when they animate their special attacks, they're going to go into their own dimension or something to really show the intensity of that move.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting that we did see Common X's second attack, which instead of Malty knew the extreme dash was coming, like she taunted him for it. He gave it to her, she defended it, and then he's like, "Oh, that was my warm up," and then did his invisible dash now, which was the second one. So we've seen a few new special moves.
Yeah, definitely. It is. It's gonna be interesting when we get to some of the later parts where we get to see more X dashes and all of that. And there, I'm just pulling this up for later. Some stuff I want to mention,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So that it definitely curious about X dashes because it kind of looked like JoJo where Dio stops time and it's
It
like
did,
time
yeah. No,
froze
I
for
was
a
like,
second.
what?
It's like, whoa, Dio, where are you? But I'm so sad he didn't. Our golden boy didn't show up for that one. Maybe next
No,
time.
but we did see our first spin finish, which obviously isn't very entertaining, but we
We
did
did.
have seen something over than a over finish or extreme finish. So
Which
it is possible.
I did put that there. So okay, yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. The next thing that we're going to talk about was Common's visor being detachable because I believe you said in I think it was one of these episodes, or I'm pretty sure it was like episode 2.
Yeah, I think it was episode 1.
Yeah, it was.
Like I was like, this dude needs to be Iron Man, but sadly it's a manual Iron Man. But and how did he do this and no one saw his face?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I'm like, wait a minute. There's no chance, no shot that he just takes his mask up and, everyone in the stands is just like, oh, cool. Instead of freaking out like, oh my god, it's X Cross. And like losing it.
Yeah, no, you saw the people in the stands. They had cameras, full DSLRs with microscopes on them.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we're getting all this detail, and apparently they just don't care about taking a picture of Common X or Multi crying when she's losing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, battle's over, cameras are over. We don't have to worry about our personalities leaking.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It was a bit. It was a lapse in judgment for
Mm-hmm.
Common X. Logistically, but I guess not in universe. They just decided to ignore the fact that he, just kind of was chilling with his mask off for a little bit. So that was kind of interesting.
The subtitles did bring up a interesting point. They made a reference to Dream. They said, "Oh, Common X has his face mask. Bird is the new guy, and then I'm the star." Like they all have their roles, and he's like, "If you take your mask off, Common X, no one's gonna watch you, and you're gonna be forgotten." I'm like, "That's so relevant. That's hilarious."
Oh man, casual dream reference. Which on a small tangent, I don't understand why people think Dream is ugly.
Yeah,
'Cause
it just because I'm like,
just
oh,
because
okay.
he's Dream. I
Well,
mean,
would you hate him if you could have played Minecraft and made $10 million a month?
not really, to be honest. It's like the way I see it. It's like he took an opportunity that he was provided or made for himself, and he is now benefiting from that. Life is all about the opportunities that you make and the ones that you take. So, a great example would be, when I started my channel, right on the cusp of Beyblade X coming out, and it dropped, and, I've been working on all kinds of stuff. You and me both have been taking
Mm-hmm.
advantage of Beyblade X's release. Our channels have been going up. We're doing the podcast, and, there's all sorts of big new things that, we've been doing with it. And that's that's a good example of sort of like what Dream was doing, where he had an opportunity, he took it, and he's benefiting from it. And we're on the same path, one that's a bit slower than Dream's, but one that I believe will pay off in due time.
It's just everyone's salty when they didn't think of it first.
Yeah, I mean, in some aspects, there are times I get a little bit like, oh man, I should have thought about that when I before then, but it is what it is, and it's usually best not to dwell on it.
Yep.
All right, so the next thing that is more of just a small point, but I kind of want to bring up was Multi with her glasses because there was a bit in the manga where she had glasses on and she had a university hat or like one of those graduation hats, I think, and the Cheez It hat, as I like to call it, and and she had one of those on and the glasses and like the I think the scanlation text was a different font. It was like Times New Roman or something versus like the normal font they use. And we kind of get that here. Now I don't know what she said exactly, but I think it was along the lines of what she said in the manga.
Oh, I forget what she said. I think this was along the lines of the strategy of live streaming that I remember this scene that was like, oh, we won't live stream, or the battles were already live streamed, so people know your weaknesses, but we'll just record it for like training purposes. Um, and then like that face reveal stuff. This was like her social media strategy persona. She puts her glasses on, and apparently she becomes a tech whiz. So in theory, she could be blind, and that's why she lost.
Yep, she's Multi is secretly just Velma in a different universe. As soon as she
Yep.
loses the glasses, she loses her entire ability, unless it's against Bird, who sucks right now. Which I mean, if that's the case and she sucks without her glasses on, then Bird really sucks because he lost her without her glasses. Oh, that'd be so funny. But I wanted to mention that. So that is all that. And then next up is, of course, probably my favorite part of the episode was the point at which Multi and X actively give Bird some training. Now, one thing that people have sort of been shitting on Bird with is, him not being trained and him being kind of crap and he sucks and he doesn't train and he just loses every battle that he's been in so far. But here they're actively training him. And, we get a nice little battle with him and Night Shield, which we did not get in the manga. So this is the first time that we're seeing, stuff that's really outside of what was in the manga, where episode 2 kind of stretched events out. Episode 3 is actively introducing things that we didn't see. And for episode 3, they did a really good job choosing what to include, because this was such a good move, showing Bird actually actively being trained by his teammates who are much better than him. So he's not sitting back and getting carried while he loses his matches. His teammates are imparting their knowledge and wisdom to him so that he can improve and, just not be the baby of the team.
Yep, I'm glad we finally got some backstory behind Bird's skill set because, like I said, he became pro without us even seeing a battle that he led up to. Like he got over or extreme finished once, broke his bay. Oh, now I'm pro. So glad to see there's at least hopefully going to be some progression in behind the scenes training with him.
Yeah, we actively get
Because
to see.
that's the whole thing that makes the Bay characters your underdogs. Like we see the work they put in to beat Chrome Ryuga.
Exactly. So it's so nice to see that in the anime, and it's not in the manga, but it is so cool. And then Bird still loses, so they didn't give him the benefit here, sadly, but he's learning how to use his Beyblade, which is good
But
for him.
Multi, I the subtitles also helped me deter this that she launched with a flat launch that it wasn't wobbling,
Mm-hmm.
and they said I believe with the wobble launch that it allows the impact to be doubled with the shield or something, and so that's why Bird was able to use the extreme line with her, but with this flat launch, it allows the impact to be deadened so he didn't have the recoil to get out to the extreme line, so that's why he got a spin finish without a full attack.
Ah, interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. That is very good to know. Thank you.
No, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But yeah, this was she switched the launch strategy, and that allowed for a different outcome with an actual spin finish.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, and then again, it just, further deepens the different strategies and techniques that can be applied in Beyblade X. So, it's definitely it's so good to see that we're seeing all kinds of techniques right off the bat. We're not waiting until like episode 10 to start seeing, like launch techniques and, these different things. So, we're seeing launch techniques now. Hopefully we see customization soon because I want to see like Hellsight 360F, just like tear up like, a for fun battle against like Team Zuganic if they become buddies afterwards.
Yep, it's fun to see more strategy than power scaling because it seems like X is mainly power, but he has the experience and the skill set to back it up. But with Malty and Bird, it's all about strategy instead of like launch power or bond with your Bay. So
Hmm.
Beyblade X is a lot more about what you do with your Bay, not if you can.
For sure. And then I believe our last point for the anime, and the last two actually. First up, that I want to talk about is the meeting with Bird and his former teammates. This was not in the manga, and I was surprised to see this. And it sort of leads me to believe that maybe Bird will be more focused on, at least in season one. Um, I was hoping that we would see, kind of a team dynamic and a team bond between all the characters and how everyone's sort of the main and there's focus on everybody. But maybe we'll see more of Bird in season one. But I hope that leads to more of Multi or X in season two. But it was real cool to see. Um, it was cool to see this little meeting happen between Bird and his former teammates. Kind of reminds me, I think, of G Rev at the beginning, where Ray and Max leave Tyson to go and join different teams to
Hmm.
become the world's strongest blader.
Yeah, and they're splitting up. They're all on good terms. They said like, oh, we're gonna go brag at home that our leader is now a professional Beyblader, and this broken English translation here that says like the fact that you don't have the ability. So they must acknowledge that Bird has some kind of hidden potential that they aren't able to access, or the commitment is different levels that allowed Bird to make it to the next level. So hopefully we'll get a little more backstory on how Bird was able to differentiate himself from his other members on the team.
Yeah, it's yeah, I didn't have the luxury of subtitles sadly, but it was yeah, that's very interesting. And I did think it was going to be something like that where it was his teammates being like, "Hey man, you're doing real good now, and we're just not cut out for it like you are. So we'll be rooting for you when we get back home." So it's I
Mm-hmm.
think that was nice to include um, in the anime. Everyone's on good terms. Everyone's still friendly at this stage. I think, which is kind of important because it builds more of a positive image and just kind of spreads the message of Beyblade, which is, not so much about the sport itself, but it's about the friends that you make and the people that you get to meet and interact with along the way.
I'm not gonna lie. If he came back in season two as the villain, he would be a sick villain. That character design is awesome.
I know the dude with the taller one is so cool.
Hmm.
I pointed that out in my video that I made when episode one dropped. But like this dude looks so cool.
It seems like a waste. Why wasn't he the main character? Bird's so basic.
I know, yeah. I mean, Bird has like a ripoff of Jenga's scarf that's now like smaller, thinner, and just on his head, and he's got like the feather hair that makes his face look tiny. Versus this guy who
Hmm.
actually looks kind of cool. Like he would be like a fun like if you had like a fire Beyblade like Hell Scythe. Why wasn't he our main character? Oh, missed opportunity. But
Chances are we are going to see him later in season two or later at the end of the season. That there's going to be probably a big tournament closer to the top of the Extreme Tower or an expedition. exhibition match, and he'll probably be the leader of his own team coming up shortly.
I would hope that he
So
does.
I don't think they're gonna waste that character design.
Yeah, I can only hope so. I think it would be amazing if like at the end of like season one we get like a little bit where Bird goes back to like after they reach the top of the X Tower, like Bird goes back down to the bottom to check out the amateurs, and he finds this dude like defeat Team Phalanx with his better team, and get into the bottom of the pro leagues, and then that kind of sets up like season two, which would be really cool. I can only pray that somebody from Takara or AEK is listening to this and taking notes, because come on, tune in, guys. We have good ideas. Listen to what we have to say about the story
Tune in to
direction.
55 minutes of our Blade Dragons Episode 3 podcast. I know it's very easy to find.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was interesting to see that. Now, my one big problem is definitely a very common problem for everyone who's kind of seen and talked about the anime thus far, but it is just how lifeless the world feels outside of the base stadium. Because when they're at Beyblade events, there's tons of people, tons of like people drawn and animated. But then you get outside of that, and there is no one. There's no cars. There's no like other pedestrians. The world is just so empty. There is literally no other people walking by or just chilling out in this entire scene. And they zoom out a fair amount. We didn't get a screenshot, but if you watch the episode yourself, through this whole last part with this interaction with Bird and his teammates, there's no one. There's no one around. It is dead. No, not even like an animal that goes by. No birds flying around, which is uncharacteristic for a boy. But like, it's just a bit eerie. It's almost like the back rooms.
Now that you mention it, the stadium that the professional exhibition match wasn't even filled up.
Yeah, there were a lot of empty spaces.
The top row was still empty.
Mm-hmm. Which is very different from what we've seen in the past. Beyblade events get, booked out. Look at like any of the battles, any of the major like stadium battles in Metal Fight. Stands are filled to the brim unless like El Drago destroys it and everyone ditches, or it like they explain why it's explanatory why there would be less people. Like the Kyoya versus Jinga battle in episode 10, when they were like, it was the middle of the night, it was raining, and they were at that one stadium in the city, and it's like Jinga's friends and the Face Hunters showed up to cheer for them, but it wasn't a big event. It was a impromptu battle between them, off the books. Versus here, where it's like there was such a like lacking amount of people that have been animated so far, and it's just kind of jarring, and it makes everything feel lifeless.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those points that people say the anime was rushed. Oh, we don't need that extra 20 people animated. It looks good enough. It's just a quick pan shot to the next scene. But it is different because first how they did it, that there was so much detail in the actual stadium, you didn't see any of the crowd, and that it would just pan over to the group of the main characters. But Metal Fight showed the entire crowd, Plastic Gen showed the entire crowd, and I don't know if they're trying to get away, maybe do a shortcut because everyone's watching online, that they don't think everyone's actually going to be in person. But I do hope that later on, I mean, I see 51 episodes, there's 52 weeks in a year. They probably don't have the most breathing room to take a step back. It's probably going to be season to season that we're actually going to see a upgrade in quality or complete overhauls. So sadly, I think season one is kind of set in stone with all of these problems that people have pointed out, but we will have to see. I'm sure they also know, because they do this for a job, what they're lacking or what they could improve on. But I guess time is a very big problem for animation.
I can imagine. And I think didn't like Quad Strike, it was like just end before Beyblade X started getting animated, or
Well,
like
I
80K.
don't think they were. I don't know if they were the same studios, but because Japan didn't do that last season. That was Hasbro milking it for money. That was only an American anime. So I don't know which studio made that one.
It was 80K because even if it was released
Was
in
it?
only America, it would have been
Oh,
animated by like the same people. So
that's kind of bad.
on Wikipedia here it says that 80K Emotions, or it was produced by 80K and it was animated by OLM. And no disrespect whatsoever to the animators. I know that they get pressed overtime a lot to work. There's not the best working conditions in Japan, but I mean, I think this might be more so to Karatomi, kind of being hasty. Maybe there was like a financial incentive behind why 80K and OLM were chosen again for Beyblade X. But even so, regardless of that, I think that they should have taken things a bit slower with Beyblade X. Like products coming out and the manga was great, and then the anime dropped, and we were excited about it, but it definitely felt rushed. And so far, even 3 episodes in, it does feel very rushed. There could have been more that was done to really fill out the world. So I hope it's only an issue with season 1 where we see this be a problem with just lifeless lifeless stadiums, the city having like nothing going on, which is just so uncharacteristic for any anime that takes place in modern world or an equivalent. um but I'm hoping season 2, Takara, gives. I would like to see them switch animators because they've done it before. They did it with Bakuden Shoot. They switched animation studios from season 1 to 2. Same thing with Metal Fight. They switched from Tatsunoko over to Synergy, and even though the visual style wasn't different between those, it's definitely very different between season 1 of Bakuden and season 2 and 3. So my hopes, my recommendation, if Takara ever listens to this when it's relevant, I would check out ACGT. They did a very, very good job with Initial D fourth stage, and that was back in 2006. So I can only imagine what ACGT has been up to since. But I know that they're capable of putting out like a really good anime where they mix, like the 2D model aspect, like in this image here, with the 3D models, or the more complex animation style. So I think they would be very capable of doing great character animation and great Beyblade animation if they were chosen to do season 2 and beyond.
No, Beyblade X is already overwhelming me. It's only been 2-3 months, and I'm like, goodness gracious. Now I gotta keep up with the anime, the manga, and all these new bays. It's like, I haven't even gotten time to use Night Lance, and I'm already on to Viper Tail. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, no, I did my big unboxing where I did like Dronzer through Night Lance in terms of release, minus recolors and the deck set. And then like right after that video was Shark Edge, or no, right after that video was Baylab, and then Shark Edge unboxing, and then after that the tournament, and then now I've already got Viper Tail out. I've been playing with that, and recoil is nuts on Viper Tail. Like,
I know. I had one battle that reminded me of that Night Shield wobble. Like he literally face down on the stadium and then just recoiled him in the over finish. I'm like, how does that even happen? The slow mo is pretty insane.
yeah, it was insane. I mean, and there was that one part where it jumped out of the stadium and then jumped back in. It was almost like Beyblade Geeks episode where Vulcan Leon flew out and then flew back in.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, just looking at Viper Tail here, it's like from the top, you've got like that sort of 6-bladed design. But if we look at like the more like flat edges here, or the more rounded edges here, these stick out a lot, and they cause major recoil. Like, it is impressive. Not to mention the overall like, I think that the size with like the scale pattern on it here. If I click on this window, I think the mouse shows. Like with the scale pattern here, and here, it's more of a like downward pointing like defensive edge, but here it's a lot sharper in terms of the angle, and you get a lot of like knockback from that. Like Viper Tail battles are insane, and we've already seen from yep, right there on Elliot's cam we got Viper Tail, and
Apparently focus doesn't want to work very well,
but if,
no,
like if
Viper Tail's sick.
it is Viper Tail is
I think that this layer is way better than Leon Claw. I mean, I really haven't had any battles with Leon Claw yet, but what I saw to Viper Tail for being quote unquote a stamina bay, I was very impressed with.
I know I'm gonna have to wait for. I've got a video idea that I might end up having to wait for our third stamina type to do because Viper Tail is just way too aggressive. It's not really a stamina blade. It's more of like a balance blade, if anything.
Yeah, if you saw my three-headed Viper battles, there were some very unexpected bit changes in that video that the bit had way more effect than I was expecting on the Viper Tail layer itself. In the past, the bit really hasn't changed much, but literally that's all that mattered between each layer of those. So that random booster is kind of fun to review.
Yeah, I think I won't be able to like give my thoughts in a video for Viper Tail, but I'll say it here. Like I think overall the random booster was underwhelming in terms of what we got in it, but I think that having three Viper Tail blades, I mean just multiple in general, is pretty good because it is a very dynamic blade, and there's all kinds of things you can do with it. Not to mention the wild attack combo that we got with the jet black one, which is really nice. I will say I think that one's the best color. It's better than the stock. I love the stock because it's got like the blue and orange like portal colors, but the black one is so clean looking. And then we've got like the nasty yellow one. Yep, there's on Elliot's cam we got the black one. If we flip it, we can just see how like smooth the color looks. It's like the blade and the gear chip are the only other colors that we see, and it's a nice red on the gear chip too. And then we get a
It's
nice black.
actually like almost a pink. It was like a magenta.
Even better, to be honest.
Yeah, and then we got
And then we got
your name Piss Viper.
Yep, we've got Piss Viper, who is absolutely disgusting. Let's get a look at that bit there. Ooh, the bit color is so nasty. It's like, ugh, it's so gross.
It looks kind of good in person, but it's not my favorite.
Even the images on the wiki, it doesn't really do it justice to how flat it looks. It really does look like,
Looks like baby puke.
yeah, it looks like a jar of piss mixed with baby puke. It's kind of disgusting. It's the more disgusting one, but Piss Viper is now going to be a meme on my channel, and that's going to be something that we see with our other big meme lord. So, yeah, there's going to be some fun stuff coming this week on both our channels. So be sure to be sure that you're subscribed to us. But yeah, I think and I'm gonna get Lane Claw sometime soon. Hopefully, I got a big eBay payout that I wasn't expecting, so that'll keep me in the game for a little while longer. Hopefully,
I think if I were you, I'd probably wait till Drawn Dagger or Hell's Chain.
and pass on Land Claw.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't got to use Land Claw yet, but before we know it, those other two are going to be out. So it's just going to be a long game of catch up.
It is, and I think the craziest thing. I'm just gonna pop out of full screen here. Check the calendar. We have almost a week left until we see the new decks come out, which really is more like a month kind of, because it's going to take a little while for some places to update the shipping. So I'm gonna order those from Bays and Bricks because they did a great job with Viper Tail. I bought it from them, so shout out to Bays and Bricks for how they do X products. I got my stuff way before I thought I was going to. So I'm gonna check them out for this one too. But Um, kind of forgot where that was going.
Nope, Zanky's doing pretty solid on my end. Mall of Bays, shout out to Zanky.
Hmm.
Mall of Toys still hasn't shipped my land claw.
Oof. Oh man, rip. I've heard mixed
Yeah,
things about Mall of Toys. That's the thing, because like Mall of Toys has good updates, and I know that's what Illinook uses. But I've heard like
when he can, apparently.
true, yeah. We had that whole fiasco with him using Amazon Japan and like getting backlogged on his shipping there, and then everyone trashed him for not using Mall of Toys, which honestly Mall
And
of
then
Toys
he
would have done
deleted
this.
it.
Yep, and then oh wait, I didn't even know he deleted that. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, you're the one that showed me that. I was like, I brought it up, and you're like, what? And then he's like, oh, he changed it or did something. I was like, that's funny.
Oh man, that's so funny. But yeah, no, everyone was like kind of like trashing him on that, which was it was I think it was all in good fun because
It
he
is.
always plugs it. But Mall of
He is a
Bays,
sponsor, so
hmm Mall of Bays, from what I've heard from you and other people, is really good with it. And I mean, Zanky gets stuff like very quickly.
now his website is out of the U.S. It ships like Wednesday or Thursday, and then in Canada is like Tuesday, Wednesday, and no, he's on schedule. I was like, dang, this week's already gone by. When's my order? And then I got it Saturday. I was like, oh, okay, so like 2 day shipping. Granted, I'm like 4 hours away from where he is, but still.
Yeah, true. You're not very far from Zanky. I'm not. I think I'm like maybe about like half a day away from where Zanky is, which is like about 12 hours or something like that, which is
Hmm.
interesting. I never expected that I would be that close to Zanky, which is interesting. I'm coming for you, man. No, I'm kidding. I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna be. I'm not gonna be Sniper Wolf,
Sniper
and
Wolf. Yep, there we
I'm not
go.
gonna be Sniper Wolf. I promise. I promise, Zanky. Um, but yeah, no. Honestly, it would be fun if we could get Zanky on the cast and do like Zankcast X Blade Dragons. That'd be fun.
We'll figure out a topic, and I'm sure he'd be down if he has time.
Absolutely. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if like next time we have the next products out. Oh wait, actually, I think let me check the calendar again. I'm so bad with dates.
Well,
Um,
my website has the logs on it, and it's like the first Friday or Saturday of every month we get a release.
Interesting.
It's
So
like
then,
the 10th, the 9th, the 15th. So I guess it's like just the first half of the month.
okay, that's not too bad. So yeah, we're getting the second for November, um which is a Thursday. It's an interesting day to kind of release it, but we'll see what happens. So maybe by episode 5, I think we'll get a maybe a new announcement. Episode 5 or 6, we'll have more products to touch on, which will be good. But for
But
now, the
we have at least two of every product now. Balance is the only one we have a third
yeah,
bay with right now.
and even then, and defense and released, yeah, yeah. So now we've
Hmm.
got two stamina types, two balance types from X original, two attack
Yeah.
types and two defense types.
Yeah, so I guess we are balanced if you don't count the crossover so far.
Yeah, excluding crossover, you've got a nice lineup. But even then, it's like the attack types are very consistent. Defense types are consistent in the way they're designed, but they're both knight Beyblades,
Hmm.
so they are. We've got very similar blade designs, and then Lance is it's sort of aggressive. It's got a bit more of an aggressive shape than Lance or a Shield. And then don't even
Hmm.
stamina is just all over the place because we've got like Wizard Arrow, which is mostly smooth, but then it's got those 2 points, like the two arrow points on it, which are very reminiscent of like Vulcan or Beat from Metal Fight. And then Viper Tail, whatever is going on with that. Stamina type, I think not. And then our balance type, I know Hell's Scythe is a bit more aggressive, but I can see like where the balance aspect is in the design, and then Lane Claw looks like it would be geared more for attack or defense, but then I haven't tested it out, so I don't know what it's like in battle. So I gotta get my hands on it and do some testing with it. But so far, its attack seems to be the only thing that's like consistent, low profile with flat tips, and very aggressive blades, and that's even gonna change when maybe when Dagger comes out, because Dagger looks like it might be a bit smoother from what I've
Mm-hmm.
been seeing of the pictures. If we pull up Drawn Dagger real quick, because like it does look fairly aggressive, but then I don't know. It also does look a little smooth with the rounded edges, and I don't know if that's to combat the high speeds of Beyblade X. And then looking at it from the side, it it seems a little flatter. It seems more like it could kind of fall short on the attack design. I know some people in some servers have been saying that the six bladed design isn't really gonna do well for it. So not sure.
Have to see.
Yeah.
But, I like the designs they've got so far. They're testing things out, but like more of the flat ends, like Nightlands and Viper Tail, they have 6 contact points, and their recoil is pretty good
Mm-hmm.
for being more of a smooth kind of bay. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
have to see. Maybe we'll get some nice contact points on Dagger. What do you think? Season 2 left spin bays, or do you think they'll just try to get away from left spin?
I don't know, because left spin has always been a very prominent factor in Beyblade for every season so far. I mean, Metal Fight made a huge deal out of it with Lightning El Drago, Meteor El Drago, and El Drago Destroy. And it was like everyone's mind was blown when Gravity Perseus and Very Aries also spun in reverse. And I'm surprised we never saw, because one idea I had for like a fun like fan story would be like a dude that uses like Dragonis but calls it Dragoon, and uses like Cyber and Hyper but backspins it, and that's the gimmick. It's like it's a right spin bay, but he spun it backwards, and the recoil is like way worse now. And it's like I'm surprised they've never done backspin. They've never addressed that in the anime, which I guess in Metal Fight it makes sense because it's very fantastical. So you wouldn't really be doing the thing where you hold your hand under the Beyblade and rip it with one hand like that. Um, but I wonder if we'll see. Maybe that'll change with X, because I think we have to see a left spin Beyblade in this season, whether or not it is a Dragon Beyblade or if it's something completely different. We're going to be getting Lightning El Drago in X over, so regardless of if we see one in season one in the original releases, we will be getting left spin for El Drago when that comes out.
Maybe they'll use El Drago as a mediator to see if it'll even be feasible to do something really mainstream in the X line. So,
Yeah.
because I know the El Drago definitely isn't as aggressive as some of these X designs, so maybe the recoil won't be as bad with more of a smoother design of Metal Fight.
Yeah, we'll have to see when El Drago comes out, but I think. Oh, you know what? One thing I forgot about was that the stadium, the X line has it has that output for a left spin Beyblade. So I
They thought
think,
about it,
I think we're going to
but
see it.
I saw when Zenki did his video on the 3D printed bits for Metal Fight that they would just go and they would just do this and it wouldn't be entertaining because prior they would go into each other, but this they're just launching like a circle, so they don't really meet in the middle like they have in the past.
They don't meet in the middle like they have in the past, but if you get like a simultaneous like X dash where they hit on the opposite ends and they don't, well, because if they hit
Not
at like
not the lip.
if they hit at the top ends, they're gonna X dash directly into each other. So it's like when you freshly launch it, they go like out of the center and they go to like the one end and then do like a full loop around. If they both catch on that part where they go into the full loop, that is two Beyblades clashing directly on the X line. I have to wonder if that is going to strip gear teeth on the bits and strip the gear teeth on the stadium, because that is like that's going to be interesting to see when we have left spin Beyblades. And who knows, maybe our left spin Beyblades this time, historically they've been attack types. We might see defense or stamina, or, stable balance types as our left spin Beyblades in the X Gen, minus El Drago, who is definitely going to be very aggressive, and that's going to be interesting
Defense.
to see. But
El Drago defense, of course.
I mean, we've had El Drago Guardians, so they're definitely not afraid to do defense left spinning. So I would be interested in seeing like a left spin Beyblade that is a defense type for once.
And there's a lot of questions, but we got to go month by month, I guess, and see what Takara Tomy has up their sleeves.
Yep. So October is at an end. I don't think we will be. Yeah, our next episode will be out on the second. So this one you guys are seeing on the 26th, and episode 4 is going to be on the 2nd of November. So that is going to be the same day that we are seeing the 2 new deck sets and Rhino Horn come out. So it'll definitely be exciting to to really talk about what those are like. Also, Maiden in the next episode, which I'm looking forward to, and then we will be in November, which is crazy.
Sounds good. So next time we talk, next time you guys hear us talk, it'll be a brand new month, and Beyblade X keeps moving, and we just gotta try to tag along for the ride.
Yeah, we gotta try and keep up with all the releases that they're doing. I mean, $100+ for November's releases.
Yeah, I'm trying a different strategy with November, and I'm not buying it fully, like the full set. So we'll see what that entails, maybe, because as of now, I haven't had any success buying from the main retail and getting it prior to getting it aftermarket.
Interesting. Yeah, because I know Bays and
So
Bricks usually lists
I
the individual Beyblades after like a certain period. So like Viper Tail, you can buy the prize bay or the 2 recolors separately on there, which is another thing I like, because I don't think I've seen that on any of the other vendors that I've looked at. Maybe Beyblade Premiere, but um, Bays and Bricks very outwardly advertises after a while of having the random boosters that they sell the individual Beyblades, which is really nice. Because I know you're not huge on the recolors for the most part, and you want
now
the
that I got all this plastic gen, I'm running out of room for Beyblades again.
yeah. So the space issue is definitely going to be a thing, and I can only imagine for like Illinook and Beyblade Geeks and Zanky, who have like all of the recolors and reparts.
Have you seen Beyblade Geeks setup for Burst? They literally have a full toolbox full
Yeah,
of Burst product.
I've seen that video. It is insane. I mean, I'm not sure how their Metal Fight collection is aged, because they bring it out and you see like when they did I forgot what video it was, but they had to use their purple Earth Eagle recolor with like a swapped in 145 WD, but even then I think they just still used the 105 HFS in one of their videos for that. So I know their burst collection is very solid, but they used to have a really good Metal Fight collection um, back in 2013-14. So I have to wonder if things got lost, or if they gave stuff away, or what, because I think they moved from like the house that they were in back in the day. Now it's like a very different place.
Sounds good. Well, we will catch you guys in the next episode. Follow us on our socials. Do you have anything else you want to say, Metal Tops Inc.?
Aside from my now outdated logo that we will rectify very soon on our banner up here, yeah, be sure to go and check out our Instagram accounts and follow or subscribe to our individual YouTube accounts. Both of us also have some extra stuff on YouTube that I know, Elliot, you've already mentioned your other channel. I've got one that I will mention soon once I get some stuff out on it, and that's gonna be fun. I can't wait to do that
Mm-hmm.
video. But yeah, we're gonna be we're of course gonna be getting products when we can and doing videos on it, and definitely trying some stuff. We're gonna break the mold a bit, and we've got a lot of our own ideas that we experiment with. So be sure to be following us on all of that good stuff to bear witness to all of the crazy memes that we throw at each other in our comment sections.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a long ride, but you can only battle so many bays. You gotta switch it up every once in a while. So stay tuned for what's coming next on our channels, and hope to see you guys in the next podcast. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it to the end of this episode, we said that this is going to be a shorter episode or whatever, or maybe a longer one, but
It's
we
gonna
are
be
running
pretty
pretty
long.
long today. So that is it for this podcast of episode 3. Dragons out.